All right, welcome to my Epic Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are multiple mediums in which to engage with this content. But the best way, in my opinion, is the blog. And the blog is at myepicbuddies.blogspot.com. But that's a lot to remember and too much to type in. So wherever you are enjoying this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. Activate it, another box will open. And I heard if you're on the cell phone, like a mobile device, you might have to hit more twice. But anyway, yeah, so another box opens that has a link directly to the blog. You just tap that link and it takes you to the blog, the free blog. You don't even have to put your email in, and I don't sell you anything. All right, so it's Friday. Whatever. It's August 8th. And it was a pretty good article day. A pretty good article day, I must say. So let me see what else. I want to thank you. If I could put a sponsored by somewhere, TE, and you know who you are, TE would be under that list of sponsored by. And I want to thank you. Alrighty. So, what else? If the, 11 minutes and 11 seconds, a little icon's going to pop up. And if you're not already subscribed, you just tap that. I think you might have to tap it twice and then it subscribes you for free. And as always, click that thumbs up button on your way out or sooner, like right now, right? Okay, that's it. And thank you, Spotify. I have over 6,000 streams and downloads is what they call them. They combine them together, streams and downloads. And that's just amazing to me. All right, let's get into it. So, this came out. Well, I'm just going to go in order. This, I think, is very telling. Most of you who know me know I am so not for this digital economy. I don't want to go digital. I'm kicking and screaming like a 2-year-old. I don't want to go digital. No. And I'll be one of the last ones going digital, right? But so we just did whatever we did, right? With the stable coins, the Genius Act. There's this other one called the Clarity Act that either is passed or has to be passed. And then there may be one more. But those are internal. If I'm understanding them correctly, the Genius Act is for here, for us in America. And then the Clarity is going to be like a mid thing. And then we have to connect internationally. If my understanding is not correct, let me know. But look who is talking about legislation. Digital currency legislation. All right, so we'll get into it. From Wall Street to Baghdad, shaping Iraq's digital economy. Mashhadani, who's the House Speaker, discusses digital currency legislation and financial market development with an international delegation. And when I read this, one of these people is named Dr. Oz. And they're from New York. And I was like, that Dr. Oz, doctor? But it's not him. But yeah, so today international experts and academics, they went there to discuss supporting legislation related to digital currency and strengthening the financial market. According to a statement from the media office, each one of them have their own media offices. Sadani has his own. The president, whatever, they all have their own. So there's a statement. See right here? The delegation included Dr. Oz, a member of the New York City Council, and then some other people that are even someone from Australia. The statement added that the meeting featured presentations of successful experiences in the United States and the UAE in the field of financial technology, in addition to discussing the results of the delegation's discussions with the governor of the CBI. So these people met with the Leah Locke, but I didn't see any articles on that, right? Oh, look, now they're showing the, okay, they hadn't, pause, break, whatever. Remember 2 days ago? Maybe yesterday? I don't know. How many days run together? They had that big conference about digital, I forget what it was called, electronic and digital, blah, 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 right? And Aaliyah Locke was there and he gave a speech. 5 projects. Does that sound familiar? And remember, I said, oh, they're brainwashing them because he asked the media to talk about financial inclusion and all of that. They hadn't shown any of that on TV. Now they are on the news. So it's what, 8:35 in the morning over there? Ah, okay. Yep. So, interesting. All right. So anyway, yeah. So maybe this was the same day they met. I don't know, but so yeah. Then and this is a short. It's a short article. Maybe there were other ones, because I just have the websites that I check. I'm sure there's many, many more websites out there, but there maybe there's a longer version. I never go to his website, that Mashhadani's website. Maybe I'll go there and see if there's more detail. I doubt it though. But anyway, yeah, so the Mashhadani affirmed the House of Representatives' support for any legislative steps that keep pace with global developments and opens the doors to investment, emphasizing the importance of creating a modern financial environment that strengthens Iraq's position in the digital economy. So we like to hear all of that, right? And what timing? I just find it amazing, right? That after, we're heavily talking about digital currency and cryptocurrency, and now there they are. All right, next article. This is an economist. There he is, Ahmed Hadhal. And they don't talk about him too much, but maybe more. Maybe he's going to be in the spotlight more. I mean, how can you forget that last name, right? Hadhal. But anyway, so listen to the title. Economist, the central bank controls the exchange rate by 60%. But and then it has an ellipsis. If you don't know what that is, it's those 3 dots. Okay. The biggest concern is oil prices. So this I would consider citizen education. That's my phone. And this is the central and southern part of the country. This website, news publication, whatever, is geared toward central Iraq and southern Iraq. Okay, just keep that in mind. So he confirmed that the stability of the dollar exchange rate in Iraq in recent years is due to a series of measures taken by the central bank. However, he warned that any external or political shocks could push the rate higher again. So he was interviewed, and now they have his name, Hathal. He said there's 2 issues that govern the exchange rate issue. The first falls under the CBI's work, monetary policies, and the structure of the Iraqi economy, which does not respond quickly to these policies. Then he goes on, over the past 3 years, the central bank has been able to develop effective tools to control the foreign exchange market by between 50% and 60%. Isn't that interesting? Not 100%. 50 to 60%. Most notably, the implementation of the dollar platform, which has encouraged major traders to convert to official currency instead of resorting to the black market, and the SCOTA, which I think is that ASCYUDA, I think that's how they say it. I say escada, but they say scoda, whatever, tomato, tomato, right? Which reduces fake invoices at border crossings, in addition to measures to limit the financing of fake imports via credit cards. And remember, this month of August, that's what they're training. They're training, the CBI is training banking, all banks. Remember, it said all banks, and they're getting trained on noticing fraud in that way, right? So, very good, very good. Let's see. The current stability in the exchange rate could continue unless external shocks or political and security crises occur that would prompt investors and citizens to switch to the dollar in anticipation of the dinar's devaluation. So, see, did I talk about here with you guys the two young men who found, well, they didn't find, they went to buy a bag of rice from a family, and the bag of rice actually had a bunch of dinar. They won't say how much, but it was a lot. It was a lot of dinar. And then they gave it back. The two young men, that's my phone. They gave the money back, and so they're going to be honored. I can't remember if I talked about that here, but so it's true. The people keep their money in their house, in their homes, and they hide it, right? It's and apparently someone forgot their money was in that bag of rice. They sold the wrong bag of rice, right? But anyway, they got their money back. But yeah, so see, they still have that worry that even though things are moving forward and they appear to be getting better, they see their economy and the money system so fragile that they could be brought back, right? And who knows if they're hearing, who knows what they could possibly being told that we don't see, right? But anyway, so then he said the trade crisis with Iran due to U.S. restrictions continues to put pressure on the local market. And then he goes into oil prices remain the most influential factor on the exchange rate. So I'm guessing that's the 50 to 40% or is the exchange rate. I mean, excuse me, the oil price. So I don't know, but I thought that was interesting, and I just wanted to show you there's still, to me, that was citizen education about the exchange rate and what affects it in their country, right? All right, here, Iraqi Chinese talks to prepare for the Beijing summit. You know, I don't really like to talk about China, but that's happening. I can't deny it. They're going to have its Arab Beijing summit, but I'm thinking it's going to be held in Baghdad maybe this year or next year, whenever they have it. All right, so we got an announcement from SOMO today. SOMO announces completion of preparations to begin exporting the region's oil, but I think we knew that already, right? So there's really nothing new here. Just again, no evidence of SOMO smuggling oil, you know, blah, 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 and they're ready. So remember I said I didn't think that it was the oil that was the holdup. Remember I said I thought it was the salaries. And look, the Iraqi Council of Ministers will discuss the disbursement of salaries to Kurdistan region employees on Sunday. So, you know, I'll be looking for that. But remember, the delegation came from Kurdistan to Baghdad, and they did their meeting, their discussion of whatever they discussed, and we didn't get any follow-up until today. So it could be, now I'm putting Positive Paula. For those of you who don't know, I have two other names. I have Positive Paula and Bad News Brenda. So I'm trying to be Positive Paula here with my dinner goggles on. Um, the possibly they got the deal, right? They have a deal on paying the salaries, but it has to be approved by the Council of Ministers. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping Sunday we'll get an update that they made a deal to pay the salaries and it's been approved by the Council of Ministers. But that doesn't mean it'll be instant. They'll play around a day or two and then do it, right? So that's what I'm hoping. And part of, if you want to read the article, part of it is the citizens want at least the option to have their money go to Rafidan Bank and then from Rafidan Bank to their cards. But the Kurds want the money to go to their banks, right? The banks that they control, and then to the people's debit cards. So, and that's what this is explaining right here when it talks about the My Account project. So we'll see. All right, and here's my one commercial for if you want to support my FX buddies, and it is greatly appreciated, really big or small. I appreciate it all. So when this is a live blog, you can go to, you click it, buy me a coffee, and then Cash App is always live, and PayPal. And in Cash App, it's $, lowercase TISHWASH, Tishwash, and the same for PayPal. And I thank you in advance for your generosity. All right. So this is another first for them in their system. And actually, this might be 2 days old. But I like this picture and I like the wording of the article, because I really don't. This is not what I focus on. But this was, there was something in here. But anyway, so this truck here went from Turkey to Jordan via Iraqi territory. And it went through the International Road Transport System, which they abbreviate TIR. So they're happy about that. And they hope more business will come that way. All right, here's everyone's person you love to hate. Maliki. He spoke with Khomeini's advisor. He called under the guise of checking on his health, checking on Maliki's health, right? And said there is an American intention to disarm the popular mobilization forces and other factions, and we will confront it. Isn't that lovely? Maliki saying, hey, I know, right? They're trying to stop this bill. They're trying to stop it. But you know me. I'm doing everything I can to interfere. And, I, even went so far as today, later today, put out, we need to mobilize. Mobilization to pass the popular mobilization law. A message to 183 Shiite members of parliament. This may be your last chance. So if we don't get it passed now, it may never pass, right? Okay, so people think that I'm paranoid and it's no big deal, and it's not that bad even if it does get passed. All right. The UN guy. Okay, here's the title, and look, it's in yellow, like hazard. That's what I think when I see yellow. So this guy right here is the UN guy. He took Jenny from the UN's place. And this is Sistani, the ultimate holy man. Oh, no. The supreme holy man in Iraq. Britain and Sistani's clear statement, the U.S. president's position differs from London. I'm not sure who this person is. Irfan Sadiq and the dangers of the mobilization law. It is dangerous. If it passes, it's dangerous for Iraq. And it says this is how the British ambassador to Iraq Irfan Sadiq, who is not in that picture, by the way, spoke on Friday about the approval of that law in its current form, which could negatively impact Iraq's image and raise hesitation among some foreign companies about making investment decisions. They already got enough challenges, right? So I just want to put this here in black and white because these are the things we don't want to hear about, but we need to know. Maybe it's nothing, but I think it's something. Marco Rubio called Sadani about this law. It's acknowledged that the U.S. president doesn't want this law to pass. So this is significant. So they still have the power to use the rate change as a carrot and stick to get what they want, or leverage, if you don't like the word carrot and stick. And here I just showed you, without you having to read all, these whole things. And then this one has the nerve to be an interview. Okay? Look how long it is. So if you want to know about it, I put it there. But yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. It almost seems like, oh look, I put it here twice. Great. I'll delete it because it's very long. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Oh, I was gonna say the person they interview, he seems to be maybe not for that law, like they said, in its current form, but he's like, they can't turn their back on Iran. Iran is a major trade partner. Is that what they call it? Trade partner? So yeah. All right. A reading of financial decisions that widened the deficit and weakened Iraqi economic indicators. So this guy's been talking a lot. Manar Obaidi. That's how I say his name. I don't know what his name is. And he really does make good points. He speaks on the facts as they are, right? Like he goes back to 2022. He talks about when oil was $80 per barrel. So if you want to read that, just remember that what he's saying is factual, but it's based on things as they are, not as we know they're going to be. Once they change the rate, once all the foreign investment money starts coming in, right? It won't matter so much the price of oil because they're going to have a bunch of non-oil revenue, right? So, yeah, if you want to read that. And then also, I think he's just trying to put pressure on maybe Sadani or maybe the government as a whole to move forward with the 2025 budget. So I have that there if you want to read that. Yeah, and he talks about they need to. Oh, here, I'll read the last paragraph. Okay. Al-Sadani's government has achieved some positive steps. And so he spends the whole article, you know, saying this is what he didn't do. This is what he didn't do. He did this, but it didn't work like he wanted it to. Right? So this is the last paragraph. Sudani's government has achieved some positive steps in service and infrastructure development. I mean, bridges are reopened. Okay? Highways, beautiful. They look like they could be in any major city here in America. And they're like, oh, yeah, some infrastructure development. Railways, I don't even talk about the railways. They've got railways that are reopened. They've got waterways that are reopened because I don't talk about the projects because what I always say, I could do an hour show just on the projects. Like when this holiday's over and all these people go back to their homes, Sadani's like, I got 36 new projects ready to break ground as soon as they leave. So yeah, and then they say some infrastructure development. Anyway, however, according to Obeidi, it has made decisions with negative financial impacts that have contributed to the widening fiscal deficit and the decline of some economic indicators. He believes that addressing these challenges requires a comprehensive review of economic policies, striking a balance between monetary stability and sustainable real growth, and enhancing transparency and governance. And remember, if you listen to yesterday's um, podcast or whatever, I'm pretty sure I talked about how he has enemies all around him. Even the president. The president is an ally with not our president, the Iraqi president. He's an ally with the framework. So he keeps the budget from their eyes. And so that's why I was saying everything this guy says is true from the way they are now. Sadani's clearly spending money out of the budget without the budget being made law. I mean, where else is he getting the money from, right? And so, yes, it will look like the deficit is widening, right? But I think it's all going to come together. Now, this was interesting. So, the Mosul branch of the CBI, they have their own website, but I can't pull it up. But every now and then, something will happen and I'll be able to pull it up. So I got on there today and look, there's a university that wants to cooperate with the CBI to program the students. No. So here, I mean, watch, that's what it's going to say. During the meeting, the two parties discussed training and development programs that could be adopted within the framework of exchanging expertise. The two parties also agreed to explore joint cooperation to enable banking operations and promote the concept of financial inclusion. So yeah, they're going to work with this, however you say this. See, I don't want to say that because I'm going to sound like a sheep, right? Sheep say that, BAA, right? So, but that's a university. And so this guy or these people here in the picture, they're from the College of Administration and Economics. And then there was another article where they're training middle management. But I couldn't get that one. But I'm not giving up. So tomorrow, oh, you know what? I forgot to show you guys the farmers, the solar power farmers. Let me see. Is this it? Oh, it's not showing me the preview. Okay, I'm gonna put, so if any, it's in Arabic, but if you want to see, they're smaller farmers and they're using solar power on their farms. Like I said, it's in Arabic, but if you want to see it, I don't speak Arabic. Maybe there was a transcript, but it's like 6 minutes, so that's too long of a transcript to try to translate. All right, that's it. We are finute. It was a good week. I think it was a good article week, don't you? Oh, I was going to show you. So now remember, let's see if anything happens this weekend. It's Friday, so they closed out. The Forex closed at 1283 for the bid and 1334 for the ask. And the Google closed at 1309. So those of you who watch, let's see if we see any anomalies this weekend like we did that other weekend, right? All right. I don't know. So if I don't post, that means there was not anything post-worthy because I don't like to waste time, yours or mine. But if there is something good, I will post it. But I will say enjoy your weekend. I will say accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. Again, thank you for hitting the thumbs up on YouTube. It helps a lot. And subscribe, join, follow, all that stuff, because I don't post regularly. So if you are connected, technically connected to me or whatever, when I update, you should get notified. But we know how technology is, right? All right. Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time.